So, hey, this is Nihar again, and the topic for today's video is market building business. Okay, now what exactly is a market building business? Before we move forward into that, I would love to share one small story with you guys. I still remember I had this startup by the name of Anvitations when I was in the second year of my engineering or my college. So, this was a startup where we were actually providing pre-made animated invitations or animated templates for these invitations or wedding invitations. People need wedding invitations, and we were actually providing them pre-made templatized version of those wedding invitations so that people can just easily purchase those from our website for whatever amount of money we decide for, like totally dependent on the type of the template. People can directly purchase those templates and download it from the website, and they can easily customize it according to their needs, and they can directly use those templates for their for to create their own invitations for their weddings, right? Now this was the whole idea. Okay, and this was a good idea for sure. Like, this was not a bad idea. Like, there are multiple businesses I see today who have built on this particular model only. Okay, I can see multiple wedding invitation, like animated wedding invitations. So the name of the startup was actually Invitations. Okay, now, even though we did not sell a single product on this website that we created, we did create a website and everything, but could not, like, I specifically, when I say we were not a lot of, there was no team as such. I was the only person who was working in this particular business at the end. Okay, now I struggled for over almost 2 years, right? I struggled for almost 2 years, and I was just like, the only way to grow a startup, which I knew at that time, was to actually collect a lot of investment or raise some money from investors and just pour the money on building a good product, and then slowly, hopefully, we'll get profitable in the next few years, right? And that's the whole reason I was actually, so I had a team member, so he and I, we were actually going from investors to investors, pitching our business or our business model or our idea, hoping that someone would invest in us. And more than the money, I feel I was actually looking for idea validation, or let's say I was looking for signs or positive signs that I should go forward with this business. So obviously, we did not receive any investment from anybody, because we were just not good at it. As simple as that. Okay, to keep it simple. But the point being, I'm really happy today that I did not receive any investment at that time. Okay, because what happened because of that was, again, I ran out of all my survival funds. Okay, I ran out of the savings that I had with me in order to operate this particular business. And because of cash crunch, or because we needed money to survive, we had to actually start selling services. Okay, we started providing animation services for money. Okay, there was no startup anywhere at that time. Then the startup was gone. The startup that we were looking up to previously was converted into a simple service business. Okay, now the thing is, we were actually collecting good amount of money by selling these animation services. 6 years later, today, I have this growth consultancy. So I made a lot of changes in the business model along the years, right? And today we have this growth consultancy. The point being, today I have this huge database. Like, I've served a lot of clients, I've helped a lot of people to set up their businesses, and, like, basically, like, I've provided marketing services, right, all these years. So I have this huge database of people who might want to have my services if in the near future I have any idea about a SaaS product or any software product for that matter. I can directly leverage these audiences that I already have, and I can straightforward test my idea and see whether it works or not. And this directly increases my probability of success by around 50%. As simple as that. Okay. Even if my next idea does not become successful, even then, it actually cut shorts the time frame for me, for which I need to test the idea and actually decide whether I want to go forward with this business or not. Okay, this data that I have, or this audiences that I have, I think this is the biggest leverage that I can have in order to start any business or startup. Whenever you are launching a startup, let's say it's a very glorified term, startup, again, but there are major drawbacks to startups. First of all, whenever you're starting up, you're just not sure whether this idea of yours would work or not. You're not just sure that whether people would buy your product or not. You're just testing things out. And due to this, the probability of success actually goes down the drain. And that is why I never recommend people to go and launch a startup straight away. And what you should do instead is actually launch or start a what I call as a market building business. Okay. Now a market building business is simply a service business or a business where you're selling, let's say, low cost info products. Basically you are selling something which already has the demand in market. You're not trying to innovate, or you're not trying to do something very unique. You're not trying to do something which is not yet proven in the market. You're just trying to leverage that current existing demand, and you're actually selling these products or services or whatever. And your main purpose behind this is actually collecting some amount of money which ensures your survival for the longer term. And also your primary motive is to collect a lot of user database. Your primary purpose is to collect audiences. Your primary purpose is to build a community around the market. You have to start in a market which you are really passionate about. Okay. And in the longer run, you might actually discover some gaps and some real problems in the market that you can build products for later. Right. Now, when the biggest advantage we have, again, as I told you earlier, is we have these audiences already, where we can launch new ideas, test new ideas, launch new products daily, and just test out straight away whether this would work, or whether people would buy, or whether people are interested, or whether there was even a demand for it or not. Right. And when you look at it from a different perspective, if you are, let's say, a coach or a consultant who is just providing, or let's say an agency owner who is just providing a small service in the market, so your long term vision can definitely be launching your own product, launching your own software product, or maybe even a physical product for that matter. Because now you already have the audiences, you already are very knowledgeable about how a business works, you already are very knowledgeable about how to market your product or services. And again, we can never forget the biggest leverage, which is you already have the audiences. You have the email list of people. You have maybe a YouTube channel which has a lot of subscribers. Maybe you grow a Instagram page which has a lot of followers. And whenever you launch a product, you can directly leverage that community. And this is what cuts short the actual time which would be required in order to be successful in business. This is how you would actually be able to build real and valuable products that people actually are dying to buy. You cannot build product from scratch just sitting in your room. You have to build the market first. And while building the market, you have to discover the real problems and actual gaps in the market that needs to be filled. This is by far the smoothest way of building a scalable and lucrative business in the longer term. And maybe this way you might actually have a huge probability of actually being successful in business.